And hello and welcome. Thank you for being here, for choosing my session from all the other 7 sessions. And I'm really glad I can be here at Øredev for, I think, 3rd time as a speaker, and like 10 times. I've been here 10 times overall as an attendee as well. So this conference is really special, has a really special place in my heart. I've been here for the first time in 2010. Who has been at Øredev in 2010? Not much. Okay. Anyway, I'm really glad I'm here. So the topic I'm going to cover today, and I have only 40 minutes, so I'm going to be trying and rush through that 40 minutes. Maybe you won't fall asleep because it's after lunch, so I try my best to keep you entertained. So the topic is immersive well-being. So basically, how can we apply immersive technologies, which I'm going to introduce later on, to our well-being? And let me first introduce a little bit more about myself. I'm Rafał Legiędź. I'm from Poland, and I'm an XR development lead and Transition Technologies Poland, where I'm responsible for delivering all kind of augmented and virtual reality experiences for other companies, manufacturing companies, oil and gas industries, healthcare, you name it. But not gaming. We're not doing gaming at all. And also, I founded a conference called DevConf. And actually, I was inspired by Øredev in 2010 as a conference, so that I started my own conference in 2011. And then I also got awarded as an MVP from Microsoft in mixed reality category for 7 consecutive years, because I travel around the world and talk about HoloLenses and virtual reality and augmented reality. And I did that so many times that they decided to award me with that. I did like 60 plus conferences, I think, in the last 7 years, mainly talking about stuff like I'm talking about right now. And that gives me some perspective, because I talk to so many peer developers, stakeholders, people from different industries, and I can see and feel that the knowledge about this technology isn't spreading at the pace we would like to. So there is still a lot of convincing, there is a lot of misunderstanding about these technologies, and this is why I'm traveling so much and talking about it. Also, if you would like to contact me about anything, here's my email, and also you can easily find me on the internet with my name and surname. So, the theme of this year's Øredev is connect the dots. So, that means, how they describe it, to truly understand and navigate the complexities of landscape of the technologies that we live with. We must connect diverse components and perspectives that are involved, so that we can come up with solutions that not only are just solutions because we can create them, but solutions that actually can do something good for ourselves. And given that, I think that immersive technologies fits pretty well in that theme, because it's like a lot of misunderstanding here and there in that field. It's new. It's kind of a new frontier, new set of hardware and software that is out there on the market. And we need to understand it. And we need to connect it with the needs that are out there as well. The needs that aren't covered by whatever software and hardware we have right now. Because the new technologies, they just unlock new possibilities. They kind of make us superhumans in a sense, because they can kind of augment our senses, our perception of the real world. And actually, there are lots of games and entertainment on VR. You probably tried it multiple times. Who have tried any VR experience already? Yeah, that's what I thought. Like games and 360 videos, we have them all the time. There's actually an actual game where you can be Iron Man on Quest and PlayStation VR. Have you ever played that? Who has played that? 1 person. Okay, you have to try that, 2 people. Yeah, so Yeah, it's fun. So it's just easy to state, yeah, just these new toys are awesome. You just have to buy it and just play with it. You will have a lot of fun, especially that it's not expensive anymore. You don't have to have like expensive PC and all the cablings and hardware to set it up and play. You just buy $250 Meta Quest headset and that's everything you need. But the real question is, can we actually use these technologies for our well-being, for our like benefit, right? Of course, we can use them to do ourselves harm, right? I mean, like every single other piece of technology, like smartphones, other wearables, PCs, or the internet. That's obvious. But we're gonna focus on benefits. So, to actually get to that point, I need to put us into a little bit more perspective. So we need to go back in time a little bit and see what kind of transformations we went through recently, like the last 50, 60, 70 years. There were 4 digital transformations. First was the first digital transformation, which actually brought us personal PCs. Some of you, looking at your faces, probably remember that transformation. And what that gave us, we were able as people we were able to digitalize information. We were able to put stuff into computer. And then there was a second digital transformation that allowed us, that gave us better graphical user interfaces and brought us internet, right? That's like late 80s and 90s, right? So probably most of you remember that. And that made all this digital information available to us like on an instant, right? All we needed to have is the internet and the computer. But then came another digital transformation which brought us smartphones, and all of a sudden, and GPS, for example, as well. And all of a sudden, all that information that we digitalize, we have in our pockets. So you probably, I don't have to go into details here, but you probably are easily, you probably, you would figure it out how to like use all these technologies to our benefit or to our harm as well. So right now we have 4th digital transformation, right? Which is which consists of wearables, IoT, AI. I mean, all the buzzwords, we all know them, right? There's nothing new here. And it's also easy to understand, for example, how wearables gives us like benefits to our health. Like the easiest wearable to think of is just a smartwatch, right? It gives us all the like health data. It can actually detect some cardiac issues, right? Before it helps us with keeping up with our fitness activities. So it's already happening, but we're gonna focus on augmented and virtual reality here in this talk. Oh wow, I'm rushing a little bit too much. I hope you understand my English. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna focus here, but we have to stop here for a little while and do a little bit more perspective, because there are so many misconceptions here in the field of these technologies, like bad namings and people not understanding what is what, then we have to just figure out how to name things, how to call things, because every now and then there is a company, a startup, a big company that comes up with a new piece of hardware or software. And I mean, what they usually do is like, they try to name things originally, like the newest Apple VisionPro from Apple. They just couldn't name it VR headset or mixed reality headset. They had to name it special computing. And then all of a sudden, people are like, "What's special computing? Like, how does it differ from anything else?" And Microsoft, when they released other headsets like HoloLens, they called them mixed reality. It was a new term back then, like 7 years ago. Etc., etc. Magically coined the word mirror world. Facebook started using metaverse. I mean, that's not their invention. Actually, metaverse comes from the book, like from the 70s, I think. But they started using that name, and they changed their company name to actually be named Meta after the metaverse. And it's all like confusion and misunderstanding. And all of a sudden, I meet someone at a conference or at work, and that person asks me, what are you doing what do you do for a living? And I'm like, I'm doing AR and VR stuff. And they're like, hey, isn't metaverse dead already? I'm like, but I mean, that's not the same thing. I mean, what do you mean by metaverse? And usually, I mean, there is no definition of metaverse actually. Try look it up on the internet. I mean, no one coined any particular definition of it. So, and that, and especially when you talk with potential customers, for example, and you try to explain them something or convince to use some part of technology, they're confused even more because you're selling them some story that they don't understand, because what they keep hearing is stuff from Facebook and X and LinkedIn, and there's like all the mess there regarding these technologies. At least that's my feeling. Not sure how you feel about it. So in my opinion, we have to use one name for all of that, like one umbrella term, and that would be just way easier. And we could divide it to two versions of, I mean, XR, which stands for extended reality. And we could divide it to augmented reality or virtual reality, as simple as that. And augmented reality would be anything that augments our physical reality, right? So we're still here, we're present, we see whatever is going on around us in the real world, and we put some extra stuff around us. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to augment our only one sense, like vision, because whenever we hear AR, we think, okay, that's some visual stuff around us. But we also can augment our other senses, like touch, for example, with haptic feedback, which you already probably know, because controllers from consoles, they have haptic feedback for a long time already, and etc. And from the other hand, we could have virtual reality, which is basically fully artificial world where we immerse a user, and that user is fully tricked into thinking that he or she is in other world. If you experienced a VR experience, which you already have based on your responses, you know that if you are in a very good immersive experience, your mind actually thinks you're there. So if someone touches you from the real world, you can be shocked for a little while because your mind is so hooked into that virtual reality experience. So we have our names laid out correctly. We can go into XR timeline because not many people know how last, I think, 10 years shaped this landscape of the devices that we have right now. We know what more or less Apple VisionPro is, but there was a long way to this place where we are right now, and there are a lot of challenges that are still awaiting. And I'm going to start that timeline with one particular point in time when Google Glasses were released, which some of you probably remember. How many of you remember Google Glass? There you go. So you probably do remember all the hype, right? That was like, I don't know, Minority Report kind of stuff, super sci-fi. So I think that was this point in time in 2014 when all of that started. Like things were started appearing in mainstream when it comes to augmented and virtual reality. I'm not saying they didn't before, because augmented reality is dated way back to like 60s or something like that, because like military in US worked on that long before, because they had to construct the helmets for jet fighter pilots. But I'm talking about kind of mainstream things. So Google Glass were the first that actually went through, and it was a really poor experience, actually. If you tried it, you know that basically you can display text, and people actually didn't like that you are walking with the camera next to your eyes. So I think, that's my personal opinion, that we weren't there, technology-wise and society-wise. Technology-wise, it's pretty obvious. Right now, we're still not there to actually create this kind of glasses, like the small form factor glasses. But society-wise, it's a very different thing. That was 10 years ago. And right now, I mean, we are used to being recorded almost everywhere. And I'm saying, like, we have TikTok, we have Snapchat, we have Instagram Reels, etc., etc. We have like videos being creating everywhere and all the time, right? And like, no one is like, I mean, there are some privacy concerns, but it's not as vocal as it used to be in 2014, in my opinion. And we have like people, when Apple VisionPro was released, do you remember all the funny videos on the internet? People like riding scooters and cars on the streets wearing VisionPro. Like, we were laughing at them. We weren't naming them glass holes or VisionPro holes like they used to name people wearing Google glasses back then. Anyway, I'm gonna rush further. 2016, first Oculus Rift was released. How many of you know that? Yeah, that was a pretty common device. One of the first really good one, virtual reality headset. You still had to have a PC. You have to plug it in. You have to set up your environment with all these pesky sensors so that you can move around and it could track you. It was okay back then. 2016, Microsoft released HoloLens 1. How many of you know that? Oh, wow, that's a good response. Because I'm still shocked that like there are people that haven't heard about it. Wonderful device. It's not tethered. It's a computer on itself running Windows 10, which was awesome from the development perspective. And it had optical see-through glasses, so it didn't like occlude your vision. You saw everything around you, and then you render holograms on top of that. It could understand your environment because it had 4 spatial sensors, so it could scan the environment all the time. It detected some simple gestures. It was something. It was kind of an iteration of Xbox Kinect, which you probably all know, Xbox Kinect, right? Very similar technology, but in a smaller factor and with the optical visors. Wonderful device. We did, I mean, me personally, in previous company and the company I work for, we did multiple projects on that, and it actually brought value to many companies in various industries. 2016 also brought us PlayStation VR. It was tremendously successful, like sold in millions copies. You probably know that, right? Yeah. 2017, very interesting thing happened that almost no one knows. Microsoft released Windows Mixed Reality headsets. Have you heard about it? 1 person, 2 people. Okay, that was a very, very weird concept. There were basically VR headsets created by Microsoft with companies like HP, Lenovo, Acer, etc. And there were literally VR headsets that with a cable that you have to connect to the computer. But one really interesting thing that they installed there were the cameras, front-facing cameras on the headset itself. And these headsets, they weren't, they kind of had the technology from HoloLens so that they didn't have to have the external trackers. So the headset was tracking all your movements, the head movements and the controller movements. So that tracking was called inside-out tracking. So all of a sudden, we got rid of these pesky sensors, outside sensors that we have to set up before we enter the play area. That was a significant move, in my opinion. Right now, it's very common. Like every headset right now has this kind of tracking. 2017 brought us Apple AR Kit. That's just a software package that we have on our iOS devices, and we can program against it and create augmented reality experiences for iOS devices. That was pretty good move by Apple because all of a sudden, all millions of devices around the world became AR-enabled devices. You probably all tried measure app. That's the best example that you can have with of augmented reality on iPhone, and it actually works, right? I mean, it's not like super reliable, but it gives you the idea if something is 60 centimeters or 80 when you try to fit a piece of furniture here and there, right? It just works. 2017, not many people knows that. RealWear, they brought us really small factor glasses. It's a very small screen, a camera, and a simple Android device, but it kind of filled a niche within manufacturing sector where there is a need for a very small form factor device, which is rugged and really reliable. 2018 brought us a startup called Magic Leap, with the device Magic Leap 1. That was kind of a competitor to HoloLens, very similar capabilities. 2018 also brought us AR Core, which is kind of a similar thing to AR Kit from Apple, but this is for Android. 2019, one of the greatest headsets that we had so far, Microsoft HoloLens 2. Unfortunately, they're discontinuing it, so it's, I think, last time to buy it because they're going to be available for like next 2 years, I think, and then they're done with it. Anyway, standalone, no cables, visor that you can flip up. It's all optical, see-through, computer on its own, running Windows. Perfect. It was actually almost perfect. We didn't need anything more, but some slightly improvements when it comes to the optical parts of the visor. It actually also had eye tracking, so you can point things with your eyes, and it was able to detect more hand gestures, and you can actually detect your hands, and you can attach things to your hands, like menu or something like that. Wonderful. 2019, one of the greatest things that could happen to VR world happened when Oculus, Meta right now, released first Quest. You know this headset? It was very popular and still is. As I said, it's a very good thing that happened. Some people don't like that it's actually Meta that is doing it, but well, what we can do. The thing is that they released a standalone headset, which is performant, which is cheap, and they keep updating it with software updates. Like there's a major update of the OS every month or two. With significant updates. Like you bought this headset and all of a sudden after 2 months you have hand tracking because it's unlocked in another software update. Then you have keyboard tracking so that you can work with the headset on with your computer, etc., or the furniture tracking. And they keep unlocking it, most of these features with software, and it keeps going. Right now, the software update is called 71, and they released a major performance update for Quests right before Christmas. Very interesting. 2020 brought us Oculus Quest 2. This is also unprecedented because the iteration pace that they became doing is pretty fast. It's just better. It's just a better version of Oculus Quest 1. 2011, another approach by Meta. Have you heard about them? Meta Ray-Ban glasses. It's kind of a niche thing. Not many people have it, but it's a very interesting concept. I mean, they don't have displays. These are only glasses. But what Meta started doing here is they started cooperating with the regular glasses manufacturer. So they're kind of approaching the problem of glasses wearable with cameras and sensors from a different angle. Instead of going from the big one to the small one, they're starting with a small one and started putting more and more technology into that. So it has some power, some AI capabilities right now, because we have, I think, 30 iterations right now on the market. It has cameras, it has speakers and connectivity. And that unlocks us pretty powerful scenarios, like there is you can use your voice to talk to the AI assistant, for example, or to call people, or as simple as shoot Instagram Reels with that. 2022, another iteration from Meta. You can tell I am Meta fanboy, actually, from all these slides. But I am, unfortunately. They released Quest Pro. No one knew why they did it for, but they did it. It's just better Quest 2, actually, with eye tracking and better controllers. What they actually did with Quest Pro is the controllers, they don't have the funny rings anymore. And what they did, they packed actual CPUs to the controllers and 2 cameras each, so that every controller actually tracks themselves. So it's not like the headset tracking the controller, but the controller is tracking itself. So that unlocks all the movements where actually you have better tracking, where you have your controllers somewhere there or there. You're trying to get your sword, for example, right? So it's not interpolation then, but it's like real tracking. 2022, one of the good things as well that happened, Magic Leap 2 was released. And this is, in my opinion, one of the best optical see-through head-worn device that we have on the market right now, that you can actually deliver real stuff to the market for like big players. And this is something we actually use. I am involved in 2 projects, big projects, that we run on these glasses. This is very good. This is a very good device. It's lightweight. A disadvantage is that it does have a cable. You can see that cable somewhere there, but it goes to the external processing unit, which is like that big, and you just put it in your pocket. And what it allowed them to do is to lower the weight of the headset itself, so it's not that tiring for your neck and head to wear. Outside of that, the quality of the visuals is pretty good there. 2023, Meta Quest 3. This is, I think, if you would like to start your VR adventure, just buy this one and you'll be happy for a long time. How many of you have Quest 3? Oh, not many. Okay, so rest of you probably have Vision Pros, right? 2023, PlayStation VR 2. Does anyone have it? You happy with it? Oh, okay, perfect. I wasn't expecting that, but you can tell from the picture that it's not as nice, as small as the other ones, right? They're kind of late to the game, but it probably delivers a good experience still, right? 2024, of course, everyone was waiting for Apple Move. Everyone knew that Apple is working on something. And me being in the industry, dealing with real problems that we have with all the hardware that we're delivering our software on to the customers, we're counting on Apple to deliver something that would actually gives us something more, right? But what they delivered? Well, a really fancy, expensive device that is not that easily deployable within like real manufacturing environments, I would say. But it's a wonderful device if you're using it on your own, in your home, for entertainment. They have some really nice touches when it comes to design, like down-facing cameras here, so that if you do your gestures, usually with other headsets, when you do a gesture, you have to do it somewhere here. And with Vision Pro, you basically can have your hands here, and these cameras are catching them. So you can do your slight movements. So for example, if you're sitting, you can have your hands on your lap and just do slight movements, and it just works. And this is pretty wonderful. That just shows, if you remember all the timeline that I just shown you, that just shows that maybe we don't have like big leaps with every headset that is being released, but we have nice touches here and there, nice improvements that sums up to the collective advancement of the head-worn devices. Also, most recently, they released, Meta released Quest 3S, which is basically a cheaper version of Quest 3. And also, last but not least, have you heard about Meta Orion? At the latest Meta Connect, they showed this wonderful new piece of technology. And I think, yeah, this is something that probably all of us are waiting for. This is a holographic display. This has a holographic display, all the sensors for scanning the environment. It kind of feels, from what I saw, like HoloLenses, but they're better and they're smaller factors, so they look like actual glasses. So I think they would be easier to deploy everywhere, even if you have to wear a white hard hat helmet, for example, on the factory floor, and also in any other scenarios. The real thing is that what they shown was the prototype, very expensive prototype. To produce one of these is like $10K. So it's not cheap. It can't be like that on the market. And the thing is that the technology that they use there is still not there. Like, we still need to wait few more years until we will have this technology cheaper. So we still need to wait. So in my opinion, right now, if you would like to jump on this bandwagon of AR, VR, or name it XR, just use Quest 3 if you would like VR and AR experience, because it does support AR with video pass-through. If you would like to do it on mobile, iPhones starting 12 Pro is the best, and all the Pro line, because they do have LiDAR sensors, which are better for all the sensing of the environment. Vision Pro, because it's Apple, and I think they're gonna iterate quicker on this line of their product. And when it comes to optical see-through glasses that you would like to deploy to enterprise, Magic Leap 2 is the best. If you would ask me what I'm using, I try to use all of them as much as I can. Okay, I have 10 minutes left, 9 minutes left. So the thing is that many people think that I talk to, that there's not much you can do with all this hardware, that we're done. But I found this slide. It's not mine. It's from the other guy's presentation. The thing is that there are a lot of challenges out there, and it's actually like playing multi-dimensional chess. If you'd like to play with field of view, you have to sacrifice something else, because the technology is still not there. So we still have to wait. But we can work with whatever we have right now, because there are still experiences that we can deliver with what we have. And now I'm going to show you several options that are viable applications for all the hardware. For example, when it comes to medical training, right? You can have scenarios where you don't need a patient, you don't need hardware, like the medical hardware, but what you can have are headsets, and everything is modeled. So this is like from a company called SimX, as far as I remember. They have scenario for medical training where you need multiple people being trained into one scenario, and there is a multiplayer scenario implemented on the headsets that guides them through the experience. And the thing is that learning by doing is known for a long time. That is better for neuroplasticity than just reading books. So it just works better. Other thing, that's from a company called Fundamental Surgery. I have a source here. Okay, they have this haptic feedback devices connected to the headset, so that when they're trying out or training the operation, they actually have this haptic feedback on their hands, so they kind of feel what they're doing, right? I mean, these pictures could be disturbing. Sorry for that. After lunch. Okay, this is very exciting. There's a company called Stroll, and they're doing experiences for people with Parkinson's disease. So that also works with they trick their senses, and their mind thinks something else right? Because we can show them things that they can follow, and it just works for the brain in a different way, so that the rehabilitation is takes a different pace, I would say. You can go to their website. They have like a lot of science behind this and a lot of videos. And another thing, a company called Medivis. There's another company from Poland called MedUp. They do for medical interventions, for surgical interventions, software for HoloLens, where you have all the imagery, like medical imagery that you took of the patients, for example, a head, and then instead of looking at like several monitors, that's what usually happens when you're in the operation room, you have stitched everything together in the form of a 3D object, and you can place it on the patient, and then you can do all the, you can view it from different angles, like what you would actually do on the screens, right? So actually, like surgeons and doctors are trained to read these flat images while they're studying. But right now, with the 3D object, it's kind of easier to understand what you're looking at, right? Oh, this is the project that we did. I wasn't working then at the company I work for right now, but they did it with the French company called Next Motion for aesthetical medicine. They overlaying the, how do you call them, the veins in the face, so that we can point where exactly the injection has to be made. Another thing that I found that was actually very interesting invention, that was at one trade show I visited in Germany last year, or that was this year. That's a headset called 7Sense, and it's for vision impaired people. And what it has a bunch of sensors. It doesn't have display, obviously, but the display is kind of inverted, like your forehead is the display, and you have the bunch of things going on your forehead, and they create patterns on your forehead. So whenever you approach a wall, for example, you have some pattern. You can feel some pattern on your forehead. If you approach a person and the sensors detect a face in front of you, you will feel another pattern on your forehead, etc. And you can imagine what kind of scenarios that could unlock. Also, when it comes to Meta Ray-Ban glasses, the newest, I think the newest at the newest Meta Connect, they showed that they have, they introduced that they're cooperating with a company, Be My Eyes, which is, if you have a vision impaired person wearing the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, that person can call a volunteer from Be My Eyes, and that volunteer can guide that person through some experience that that person is witnessing. Another thing, that's actually my friend from Poland, and he moved to Iceland and founded a foundation there a long time ago. And he's doing a simple thing. He records experiences with a 360 camera, right? And he's doing some storytelling with that. But what he's doing is he's then creating all these experiences, and he puts these headsets on the heads of people that are locked in hospices, right? Kids and older people. And that is just something which is very, like, there's no words for that, because you bring like other experiences to the people that can't experience that ever again. And another thing, that's kind of a big news from this year, I think. The first headset on the space, on the International Space Station. That's Vive Focus 3, as far as I remember. They had a pretty interesting challenge to overcome, because every single headset out there, they rely pretty heavily on the gravitational vectors. And in space, they do not have gravity. So they had to solve this. They actually did that. They put an anchor point on the controller, so they have this, how do we call it? They don't need the gravity, but they have the point that they can refer to instead of the gravity. Anyway, but what they brought to the astronauts there is nature, basically, because they're locked there for 6 months in the space station. And well, you can develop some kind of mental disorder, I would say, while sitting there. But at the same time, if you would put a headset on and you would immerse yourself into like swimming with dolphins or sitting on a beach, it's a very different thing. And another thing, drug discovery. That's a company called Namotech. I don't remember really. Anyway, so they did the collaborative space and application for people, for scientists that are working with molecular data. And they can actually sit together in on the virtual table and work with that data. And last but not least, fitness applications, which if you have a VR headset, you probably played Beat Saber. I mean, everyone played Beat Saber. But it might be funny, but if you would get to the point where you are pretty fluent with expert or expert plus level, it's a pretty good cardio, actually. You can burn them calories pretty quickly, but you have to work towards that because on easy mode, it's not actually that compelling. And there's a lot of fitness games out there, like this rhythm games. It's just, you can pick whatever you want. And yeah, that's 40 minutes. Wow. So I was trying to connect these dots for you. I probably looked like this. So you know which TV series that is from? Okay. Questions? Which TV series? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Or It's Always Sunshine in Philadelphia, something like that. Okay, thank you very much. I'm gonna take